Well, I turned 60 back in April, which means that as far as this body is concerned, I'm now officially out of warranty. I don't get to trade in this stylish 59 model, I've got to make it last. Now, of the many used cars that I've owned, I have on several occasions simply had the car stop running. I get the car towed to the shop, turns out the timing belt has failed. Awesome. How much can a timing belt cost? 60 bucks maybe, something like that. However, on some automobiles, including the automobiles I happen to be driving, one of the quirky little side effects of a broken timing belt is that the entire engine gets destroyed. A $1,000 replacement engine is going into a $1,500 used car. Now, this has happened to me more than once, but of course, being younger than I am today, life had not yet had enough time to beat the stupid out of me yet. So I kept driving cars until the timing belt failed, instead of simply taking the car in to get the belt inspected before it failed. So this message is for all of you tomophobes out there. Tomophobia is the fear of medical procedures. You know deep down inside there's maybe some kind of shimmy going on behind the rib cage, let's say, or maybe you're leaking fluid in places in quantities that you're not supposed to be leaking, or maybe you hit the accelerator going up a hill and there's a sickening lurch in your step and you kind of like clogged fuel injectors or a bad carb, maybe that kind of thing. So what I'm doing now is I'm forcing you, yes, you know who you are. I'm going to force you to make a timing belt decision. Now, either you make the decision to inspect the timing belt or the timing belt will make that decision for you. For example, I occasionally have a racing heartbeat. So back in 2011, I decided to try something different, weird, and radical. I went to the doctor. He listened to my heart with the stethoscope. And he said, well, maybe we should just do a quick EKG. Okay, so we'll do the EKG. You know, maybe we should do an ultrasound with the EKG. Sure, why not? So he sees the ultrasound results. You know, just to be safe, I'd like you to wear this heart monitor for 24 hours. Now, at this point in the story, you've probably figured out that I'm not exactly in love where all of this is going. So I come back to the doctor after wearing the heart monitor for 24 hours or so, which results in him looking at the monitor tape and then writing me a referral to a cardiologist. The cardiologist gets a hold of the EKGs and he says, you know, we probably should get you in for a nuclear stress test. Now, I thought a nuclear stress test was my entire childhood growing up in the Cold War. I said, what, nuclear stress test? That sounds exciting. What's that? It's the thallium test, says the doctor. Oh, okay, sure, okay, sorry. The thallium test. What's thallium? Thallium, as it turns out, is a radioactive substance that they pump into you. They scan you at rest, then you wait a little bit, and then you get on a treadmill and really work up a sweat. Then they scan you again. A computer compares the two images. The more this radioactive dye gets pushed out into your tissues, the smaller the blockage from the heart is. By the way, just before the treadmill, I was sitting there hooked up to the electrocardiograph, and I could see clearly, my untrained eye, I could clearly see I was just missing heartbeats. They were just missing them. That wasn't good at all. Anyway, here's what happened. When I started running, the harder my heart began to work, the smoother the timing belt started to run. After a few moments of exertion, my heart just stopped fooling around and got right back on the beat, and it stayed there. When I called the cardiologist's office the next morning for the results, his office manager put me on hold, went back to the back for 30 seconds or so, came back, and she said, and this is a direct quote, "The doctor says, go away, kid, you're going to live forever." Well, that's the plan anyway. So do you see these lovely red spots here on my face? There's one here, I think, here, a couple of these guys. Those are liquid nitrogen burns. It's nothing nasty, but it might have become nasty, so it's hasta la vista to those particular cells, whether they like it or not. Now, if I'd had the common sense to do this skin cancer screening test earlier, then I would not have had to watch a surgeon take a bright red and yellow piece, about the size of a piece of sushi, out of my left shoulder a few years ago. If I'd gone earlier, they would have been able to just freeze that off too. But I was too stupid to go earlier, even though I knew I had some kind of problem back there. Now, fortunately for the future of America and the hopes and aspirations of humanity in general, it turns out that while I was stupid enough to let it go for so long, I wasn't stupid enough that I let it go even longer. You know, in flight training, we have a saying, you need to learn from the mistakes of others, kid. You're not going to live long enough to make them all yourself. The only thing worse than knowing that your house is infested by termites is not knowing that your house is infested by termites. So right now, right this second, you know who I'm talking to. You make a call or write a note or do whatever you need to take care of so that you get onto this and start it right now. Look, the chances are very good that that squeaking sound that you're worried about is probably just a loose pulley or something. Turn of a wrench and a few $100s in labor, it'll tighten right up and everything will be copacetic. But let's say they do find something serious. Well, then you have to ask yourself a tougher question. Now, for me personally, that question goes something like this. I would rather die from a terminal illness than die from a terminal illness that I could have prevented. So don't argue with me. I don't want to hear it. Just go out and do it. Look, our country's already half full of communists, and we need every single one of you can-do, steely-eyed missile men and women. So quit bitching about it, leave the neuroses to the left, and get it done. Right now. You're still here? It's over. Make the appointment. Go.